Hello everyone and welcome to my YNR CBS Spoiler Today channel. Please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up because what is coming to Genoa City this week is so explosive, so emotional, devastating that you are going to want every single second of it. This week on The Young and the Restless, the truth is not just coming out, it is detonating like a bomb right in the middle of everything, and nobody is walking away from the blast unscathed. Holden Novak has just discovered that Malcolm Winters is his biological father, and the weight of that revelation is crushing him from the inside out. Meanwhile, Audra Charles overhears something she was never meant to hear. Claire Newman steps up in the most unexpected and beautiful way, and Lily Winters gets hit with not one but two seismic shocks back to back. And if that were not enough, Malcolm is left standing face to face with Stephanie, demanding answers that she simply does not have. This is one of those weeks where you watch with your jaw on the floor and your hand over your heart, because the emotional stakes have never felt more real or more raw than they do right now. Let us start at Crimson Lights, because that is where everything kicks off and already the tension is suffocating. Holden Novak has agreed to get tested to find out whether he is a bone marrow donor match from Malcolm Winters, the man he just found out his biological father. Let that sink in for a moment. He is not just volunteering for a medical procedure. He is potentially stepping up to save the life of a stranger who happens to share his DNA, a stranger who has been walking around Genoa City for years while Holden had no idea who he really was. Dr. Stephanie Simmons is there to help coordinate everything, and she steps away to make the necessary arrangements while Holden and Malcolm are left standing there, just the two of them, trying to process the most surreal father-son moment imaginable. I cannot even picture what that conversation looks like. What do you say to someone in that situation? There is no handbook for this. There is no roadmap for two people who have just been told they belong to each other and now have to figure out what that even means while one of them is fighting for his life. Stephanie eventually gets the clinic sorted out and sends Holden the location via text, and he goes for the testing, but once the test is done and the waiting begins, something shifts in Holden. He heads over to society, and the fury that has been simmering beneath the surface finally starts to bubble up. He's furious not at Malcolm but at Stephanie, at his mother, at the women who kept the secret buried for years, who looked him in the eyes every single day of his life and never once told him the truth about who he was. And I think that is actually the most heartbreaking layer of all of this, because it is one thing to find out a secret. It is another thing entirely to realize the secret was kept by someone you trusted completely. Audra Charles notices Holden almost immediately when she spots him at society. She can tell something is deeply wrong. He is not himself, the energy around him is off, and Audra, being the sharp, perceptive woman that she is, picks up on it right away. She tries to approach him, tries to be the person he turns to, but Holden shuts her out. He sends her away, not with cruelty exactly, but with a kind of emotional distance that makes it clear he is not in a place where he can let anyone in right now. And you have to feel for Audra in that moment, even if you understand why Holden is doing it. She genuinely wants to help, but he cannot find the words or the courage to be vulnerable with her. And so he pushes her away, and then Claire Newman appears. Now here is where the scene gets truly beautiful in the most quietly powerful way. Claire does not demand anything from Holden. She does not press him or pry. She simply shows up and offers herself, asks if he would like someone to talk to. And that gentle, low-pressure approach is exactly what Holden needed without even knowing he needed it. The contrast between Audra's approach and Claire is so telling and so deliberately written. Audra comes in with urgency and concern, which is valid, but Claire comes in with patience and stillness. And in this particular moment, stillness is what saves Holden. Now here is where things get absolutely wild. Because Audra does not actually leave, she slips around the corner and she listens. She eavesdrops on the entire conversation between Holden and Claire, and what she hears changes everything. She hears Holden open up about finding out his mother lied about his biological father. She hears him explain the Malcolm connection. She hears him say that Malcolm is also Lily's biological father, making Lily his half-sister. Imagine being Audra in that moment, standing in the shadows, barely breathing, absorbing revelations after revelation like a series of gut punches. I genuinely cannot believe she kept herself together enough to say, "Stay quiet," because what she's hearing is enormous. This is not gossip, this is a man's entire identity being dismantled and revealed in real time. And she's witnessing it from a hiding spot she was never supposed to be in. Audra eventually rushes off, clearly shaken, clearly processing, and clearly already thinking about what this information means for her. Back to Holden and Claire, the conversation is raw and real and genuinely moving. Holden confides in Claire about how overwhelmed he feels. He is not just dealing with an emotional shock, he is simultaneously facing the possibility that he might be the only person in the world who can save Malcolm's life as a bone marrow donor. That is a staggering amount of weight to carry, and he's doing it while waiting on test results, while ignoring Stephanie's phone calls because he cannot deal with her right now. And honestly, who could blame him? He is not ready to have that conversation yet. He needs air, he needs space. And so, he turns to Claire and asks if she will go for a walk with him. And she reaches out and takes his hand as they head out together. That image, Claire taking Holden's hand as they walk out, is so quietly symbolic and so tender that it genuinely got to me. He is not walking away from everything. He is walking forward, just with someone beside him this time. Meanwhile, on the other side of Genoa City, Malcolm is sitting with his own storms. He confronts Stephanie and demands to know how she could have kept a secret this massive from him. How could she have walked away, knowing she was carrying his child, and never said a word? And Stephanie, to her credit, does not pretend it was simple or painless. She explains herself, talks about how their relationship was short-lived, how Malcolm's career was just beginning to take off, and how she convinced herself that bringing a baby into that equation would have been an obstacle rather than a blessing. She even turns the question back on him, asking whether he honestly would have been ready to be a father back then, or whether he would have resented it. And Malcolm, in a moment of rare and vulnerable honesty, admits that they will simply never know. That answer is both sad and devastatingly true, because the past cannot be revisited and redone. No matter how much anyone might wish otherwise, he does not linger long on regret, though he knows what he needs to do. He heads off to find Lily and tell her everything. Over at the above-mentioned, Lily is already in pieces. She has confided in Tracy about breaking down over the news of Malcolm's aplastic anemia and the absolutely gutting reality that she is not a viable donor match for her own father. Think about how that must feel. You want so desperately to help someone you love, and your own body will not cooperate. Lily feels like she has failed Malcolm, and no amount of rational thinking can immediately shake that feeling. Tracy Blazer wraps Lily in the warmth and compassion she is known for, reminding her that this is not her fault and urging her to go to Malcolm directly so he can exploring other options. It is the right advice delivered with so much love, and it gives Lily just enough of a push to pull herself together. When Lily finally meets up with Malcolm, he sees her with the first bomb. He already knows she cannot be his donor. He finds out, and rather than letting that be a moment of defeat, he gently tells her that Stephanie may have offered another path forward. Lily is trying to follow along, trying to understand what he means, and then Malcolm begins to explain. He tells her about his past with Stephanie, the relationship that was brief but significant. He tells her about the pregnancy Stephanie kept hidden. And then, in the most shattering moment of their entire conversation, he tells Lily that he has a son he never knew existed, a son who was kept from him for decades. Lily is already reeling, already trying to absorb this, and then the second bomb drops. Because when Malcolm reveals the name, Lily freezes. Because it is Holden. Holden Dovuk, someone she already knows, someone who has already been part of her orbit, part of her world in ways that suddenly take on a completely different meaning. Her new half-brother has been right there all along, and neither of them had any idea. The shock of that realization must be feel like looking at a painting you have seen 100 times and suddenly noticing an entirely different thing, different image hidden inside it. The ripple effects of everything that is unfolding this week are going to be felt across every corner of Genoa City for a very long time. Starting with Holden, this young man is being asked to process a complete identity crisis while simultaneously facing a life or death medical decision. That is not a situation anyone handles gracefully, and the fact that he is holding himself together at all speaks to his inner resilience. His connection with Claire is becoming something genuinely meaningful. And this shared vulnerability is the kind of foundation that can either build something extraordinary or buckle under the pressure of everything yet to come. Audra's position is the one that fascinates me the most in terms of long-term consequence. She now possesses information that Holden never chose to share with her. Information that is deeply personal and profoundly sensitive. What she does with that knowledge will say everything about who she truly is. If she uses it as leverage, it could shatter whatever trust remains between them. If she chooses to hold it quietly and wait for Holden to come to her on his own terms, it might actually show a depth of character we have not fully seen from her yet. Either way, Audra is now playing a game she did not ask to be in, and the stakes are higher than she probably anticipated when she decided to stay and listen. For Lily, the emotional journey is only just beginning. Processing the fact that Malcolm has a son is one thing. Processing the fact that the son is someone she already knows, someone she has had feelings or interactions with, adds an entirely new dimension of complexity. Her whole understanding of her family just shifted. And yet, in the middle of all of this chaos, there is something bittersweet and almost hopeful about it. Because Holden being a potential donor match means that the family Lily never knew she had might be the very thing that saves her father's life. Is not a Y&R miracle wrapped in heartbreak? I do not know what is. And then there is Stephanie, who is arguably the architect of all of this pain, even if her intentions were never malicious. She made a choice decades ago that she thought would protect everyone, and instead it has detonated in the present with consequences she is only beginning to understand. Her relationship with Malcolm, whatever shreds remain of it, is permanently altered. Her relationship with Holden is going to require an enormous amount of work. If it can be repaired at all, she is standing in the wreckage of her own decisions. And there is something deeply human about that, even when it is deeply painful. And just when you think the truth has done its worst, it somehow digs even deeper. Because this isn't just about a secret being exposed, it's about identities being rewritten in real time. Holden isn't just facing a medical decision, he's starting at a life that suddenly doesn't belong to the man he thought he was. And honestly, that kind of emotional whiplash can either break someone or completely redefine them. What makes this even more intense is how silence is becoming just as dangerous as the truth. Audra now holds a secret she was never meant to hear, and secrets like that don't stay quiet for long. In my opinion, this is where the real storm begins, because information is power in Genoa City, and Audra knows exactly how to use it. But here is the twist that keeps me thinking, what if Holden being a match isn't the relief everyone expects, but the start of an even bigger emotional depth, because saving a father you just met comes with a lifetime of questions no one is ready to answer. And what happens if he is not a match? Will guilt destroy him, or push him even closer to Malcolm in a different way? Now let me ask you this. Would you forgive a parent who hid your entire identity from you if it was meant to protect you? And if you are Holden, would you step up without hesitation or walk away from a responsibility that was never yours to begin with? Looking ahead, something tells me this fragile bond between Holden and Claire is about to be tested, because emotions this raw don't stay steady for long. And Audra, she's not done yet, not even close. So as everything quietly shifts beneath the surface, one question lingers stronger than ever. Who will rise from the truth, and who will be buried by it? If this moment hit you as hard as it feels, stay with me, because the next twist might change everything you thought you understood. Genoa City has never been a place where secrets stay buried, but this week feels different. This week feels heavier and more human than almost anything the show has delivered in recent memory. Holden is standing at the crossroads of identity, duty, and forgiveness. Lily's trying to make sense of a family that just got both bigger and more complicated all at once. Audra is sitting on a secret that could change everything. And Malcolm is facing the greatest battle of his life while simultaneously meeting the son he never knew he had. Every single one of these characters is at a turning point, and the decisions they make in the days ahead are going to define who they are. Not just for this storyline, but for everything that follows. So I need to hear from you right now. Do you think Holden will be a donor match for Malcolm? And if he is, do you think saving Malcolm's life will bring them closer together or create a complicated new kind of emotional depth that neither of them is ready to carry? Would you forgive your mother if she kept your biological father from you for your entire life? Drop your answers in the comments below, because this is one of those storylines where your perspective genuinely matters, and I want to read every single one of your thoughts. If you are not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button right now, because we are just getting started and the twist coming in few weeks are going to leave you absolutely speechless. Give this video a thumbs up if you felt every single word of this one, because in Genoa City, the truth never arrives quietly, and this week it arrived like a hurricane,